truck is pulling off this time by. It's Jankowski and Brett Kressley. The field now in their hands. Kevin Beach, Timmy Buckwalter in that second row. The green flag is out and we are underway. Jankowski not wasting any time as he fires off first and heads down that back straightaway already with a couple of car length advantage. It's Kevin Beach Jr., however, in the 17X that takes control of second position as they come off that fourth turn on lap number 1. The 17, 19K. The 4 and Timmy Buckwalter in the 942. That's your top 5. Side by side for 6th position. That was Wayne Whitmer. And the 15 of Lisowski. Whitmer got way out, stepping out of line, and he falls back a couple of positions. Up in front, here's Jankowski. Still over Beach, but it is the Ford car. Anthony Perego. Perego's such a master at long-distance races here at Big Diamond Speedway. Takes over 3rd position. Perego not done yet. Now seizing the opportunity to get underneath the 17X of Kevin Beach. 2nd place into the hands of Anthony Perego. Jankowski's last win here in a modified. Well, it's been a couple of years. 2021. And we got our first caution out. We got one that has spun around on the back straightaway. 9 laps are complete. Nice firing off by Jankowski. Oh, Dwayne Howard is up in nowhere man's land on this restart, and Jared Umbenauer is facing in the wrong direction while everyone is scurrying for an opportunity to get by. On these restarts, and even at the initial start, no denying the fact that Kid Rocket is living up to that name because he is just shooting out ahead. Now, mind you that Perego that time wasn't letting him get too far ahead as he tries to keep him reeled in. But no question in our minds right now that Alex Jankowski certainly has the better of this field right now. As they begin to settle in here, we got to get those rhythm, those green flag laps. Kevin Beach has given it a super ride here tonight, sitting in that 3rd position that he's getting around here. This time, though, you can see that Kressley trying to line up from the outside. He loves running the top here. That's what we're talking about, that Kressley line that he is just able to hook up on the high side. They're trying to get some of that rubber down there. It makes such a difference here for these modifieds as these races wear on. Side by side, Kressley continuing to work feverishly from the outside lane, and he will successfully now move in to the 3rd position. And he has progressed nicely, in my opinion. Longtime supporter of us here. Matter of fact, you can see how well he is. He's being very stingy. He's not letting Jankowski get the better of him. And we got a slow one moving up there. I believe that is the 4. It is. That is Anthony Perego, the 2nd place running car. Here comes Jankowski once again. And Timmy Buckwalter. Buckwalter steps it up and moves in the 2nd position. Falling back to 3rd is Brett Kressley, and Harris Loudon Reimert now making his presence felt. Remember, he is the defending race winner of this event. And Loudon Reimert now beginning to challenge for 3rd position. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Moresca with the S&G Roofing Sportsman Spectacular season opener for 2026 here at the Valley of Speed. Nick Giardini, the 399, looking to jump out in front from his number one starting position here out of Brookfield, Connecticut. Being chased down the back straightaway by Jared LeBaugh. And here's Michael Wagner Fitzgerald driving hard up into the west end, making a move to the inside as he battles side to side for second. And now Tim Hartman Jr. is up to fourth. So the cream quickly rising to the top here. Nick Giardini finished second in points a year ago. The champion, Tim Hartman Jr., is in fourth and making a bid for third. Chris Crane Jr. has got that third place spot as they work off of turn number 4 here. Hartman will get by him. He'll make the pass complete. Tim Hartman Jr. in the 22A has taken over the number 3 running position. But off the corner down the back straightaway. And long Lebanon back straightaway with a high speed. Oh, trouble here in turn 2. Michael Sabia's car comes to a standstill. And we've got yellow coming out on the speedway. On the restart with 7 showing complete. Obviously a much better restart situation. Joey Scarborough still trying to take advantage on the outside. A lot of steam up and through the east end, but Nick Giardini will maintain the number 1 position. Fights him off. Now on the east end, again to the inside is Scarborough. Tim Hartman Jr. looking at that battle going on. Now he'll swap lanes. He'll go to the inside of Joey Scarborough. But Scarborough will have none of that. He'll shoot the gap. Threads the needle up here in the west end. A fantastic shootout going on in the spring Hasbrung season opener from S&G Roofing as Joey Scarborough becomes our new race leader. Scarborough has gone to the front. Here comes Tim Hartman Jr. on the outside of Nick Giardini. He'll make the pass. He'll grab the number 2 spot away. A little bit further back here. He had a super fast race car in his qualifying heat. Working his way forward as the green flies here again. Yellow out. Trouble right here on the front straightaway. Another pileup right there in the lane. Hartman knocking on the back bumper, letting them know. There he goes again to the inside. Blast down Lambo and off of turn number 4. Like that, a pass for the race lead. We've got a new race leader. It's Tim Hartman Jr. has gone to the front. It's all Tim Hartman Jr., the winningest Sportsman driver in Crete Sportsman history of Lebanon Valley, picks off another one, the season opener, captured by Tim Hartman Jr.
All right.
You know, the track's a little bit different every year, and it's just going to take something a little different, but, you know, everything I did improved on it, and, you know, the car was just phenomenal.
Congratulations to Tim Hartman Jr.
Has caution lights have been turned out. Here we come on a turn number 4 this time. Schilling sets the pace. Green flag fly. We go racing. Swapping lanes at the top of the green flag. Another wholesale slide job on a turn number 2, and Schilling right back at him. Schilling's not done yet. Here comes Williams right back. Oh, baby, this is great racing. Side by side, they drag race across the stripe. Watch Stoyer and Papiez. They're both licking their chops back there in the row number 2. Down the back straightaway, Williams right back at him again, yelling, na, 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 out the side wing window. Right onto the inside, here comes the Schilling car again, but cannot close the gap right now. It's going to be Williams now to set the pace. Papiez is on the inside. He'll follow through for slot number 3. It's going to be Stoyer down the back straightaway. And already the ring goes rocket. Ryan go down back there in the number 3 position. Williams sets the pace coming out of turn number 4. Papiez slips. Oh, no. Yellow. Trouble on the speedway. This will be a red flag. Stoyer and go down road number 2. Here we come out of turn number 4. Back to business out on the speedway. And the wheel takes off. Williams into the number 1 spot. Stoyer goes to work with Schilling. Schilling, oh, way too wide that time, losing valuable racing space down the back straightaway as Go Down and Krejcin go by. Schilling tries to shoehorn his way back into the thick of things. Back down to the inside. He travels against Ryan Go Down. Go Down, the Izzy number 24 car works to the outside. The 26 car down the back straightaway. Go Down. Now Neil Williams holds on to the fight. Stoyer is second. Third spot, Go Down onto the inside right now of Ross. The Ringo's Rocket takes over slot number 3. Ross fourth. Schilling fifth. Krejcin sixth. Fry seventh. Bunting is slot number 8. Field strong in turn number 4. They all take the upper rung coming out of turn number 4. Williams at a full head of steam down across the stripe. Coming up on Johnny Almec, a lap car. Number 4. Oh, baby, watch him down across the straight. Stoyer second. Go Down about to get by the 24 mount, the lap car. Now all 3 cars you can throw a blanket over, but then they couldn't see, so we won't do that. It's Williams in command of the drive down the back straightaway. Coming up on Cozy. Cozy may become a victim of lap traffic. Watch Williams down across the stripe. Stoyer and Go Down top 3. Ross is 4th. Schilling is spot number 5. Go Down makes a move onto the inside of Stoyer. Stoyer not so quick, young man. Pulls back up onto the number 2 drive. Stoyer way up the banking. And Go Down off to the inside line. They drag race for the number 2 spot. Down across the stripe they go. Go Down is on the inside. And a slide job. Swamp lane. Stoyer back in command of the bridesmaid spot of the Speedway. Stoyer right there. No, shoot, get away as he yells out the wing window to Go Down. Go Down's going to get away onto the inside line and take the spot away. Maybe not so quick. Stoyer right back into the catbird seat. They'll drag race each other down across the stripe. And Stoyer's in a great move right now. Stoyer back into spot number 2. Go Down right back at him. Go Down right onto the inside of the Speedway that time. Stoyer will fail to be intimidated. Beads of sweat begin to build on his brow, but then Go Down. Go Down's got the periscope up, and Go Down goes racing with the wheel. Go Down out of turn number 2, strolls down Backstretch Boulevard, and he's your new race leader in the moonlight. The Ringo's Rocket, Ryan Go Down in the Izzy Trucking and Rigging 26 car. Now in the lead step, Williams second, Stoyer all over him back there in spot number 3. Top 3 drive. Go Down howls on to the number 1 spot. White flag comes out down across the straight that time. 4/10 of a mile. Go Down shows the way, not throttling off a spec. Down the back straight he travels this time. Williams still second, Stoyer third, Schilling 4th. Checkered flag coming out. Make the check payable to Ryan Go Down. Second spot is Neil Williams, Stoyer third, Schilling 4th, and Krejcin in spot number 5.
From Niagara to the Hudson, from Champlain to Erie, from nuclear to farming, High Torque of New York is your one-stop shop for torque tool and industrial bolting needs. Easily loosen or achieve accurate torque and bolt load with pneumatic, battery, or hydraulic-powered units. Serving every industry, mining and aggregates, transportation, energy, structural steel, and rail. On-site torque wrench calibration and repair, sales and rentals, training, bolting solutions, and more.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Monday Night Modifieds here with Matt Smith and Mike Mallett. Nice to have you back here on another Monday night as we start to get into the heart here of racing season, I guess. Well, I guess the beginning, the breathing, I don't know. I'm going to go heart because everybody's racing pretty much. We had practices all over the place. We had racing all over the place. So life is good. Life is good. Matty, how you doing? You took a week off last week, and nice to see you back here, buddy.
Yeah, the sun was shining today. It was really nice out. I mean, I'm just really itching to get back to it. I know pretty much everybody else is now, too, with this weather we got.
Yeah, now I know why you weren't on last week. I told Eric Lee I was going to bust your chops. I know why. Eric and I He got rid of some dead weight in the tournament, and Eric and I went out. We got second 2 weeks ago in the trap event. So that's why you skipped a week. You didn't want to hear about it, but I'm not letting you live it down, buddy. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
Second place is the first loser.
It doesn't matter. Considering I've been a loser the first 4 times I've shot, I'll take second all day long.
No, I'm glad you guys did good.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had fun. I couldn't miss. I was shooting from the hip, between the legs. I mean, it was impressive. You would have been proud.
Yeah, right.
Still can't hit the ones going side to side, though. Still can't hit those.
You'll get it.
So, yeah, look at you changing it up tonight. You got a little shop view here for you.
Yeah, the open car is just about buttoned up. But, yeah, I've been seeing some comments about needing a change in scenery, so here we go.
Yeah, I don't change. I just got the same old behind me here as I sit at my dining room table. Notice the dad's roof back there, the 46. Now, what do you know what car that's off of?
What do you? I mean, it's obviously off of one of his modifieds. It was
no way. It's off a modified.
Yeah, no, it was one of the cars that he had the second go around, and he got back into it probably around 2017. Yeah, probably 2016, 2017.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. That's cool.
One of the cars he ran at Brewerton or Thunder.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Again, gotta love the shop view. Got some checks on the wall there. How many of those got your name on them?
Just a couple. Not enough.
Not enough. Well, we got all year to get that, right? And we kind of start off this weekend with a big race for the Thunder faithful, if you will. We got the Jan Corcoran Memorial. Looking forward to that. Friday night, we have the mods and Sportsman, timed hot laps here. I shouldn't have had the tacos like a half hour ago. Ooh, a little bit of heartburn working here. Mods and Sportsman timed warm-ups. Of course, we got factory stocks, 600s and 600 sprints. Then on Saturday, it's the big day for the mods. $3,000 to win, 32 laps, and then 1,500 to win for the Sportsman, 32 laps in honor of Jeremy Corcoran's mom, Jan. So looking forward to that. Hopefully Mother Nature is nicer this year than last year.
Yeah, it's looking up already. I mean, we don't know what the weather's going to be until
don't talk weather.
Minutes. Well, we got it. Nobody knows what's going to happen until about 15 minutes before it actually happens. But
right.
As of right now, in the foreseeable future, it's looking pretty promising.
We're looking good. Hey, just got to say this: 0.01.
Whatever. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, but
yeah, 0.01. That was what Maddie was off last year in time warm-ups on Friday night. 0.01 from locking in. I couldn't. I'm not going to forget that because I think I spent all day talking about it on Saturday.
Honestly, I don't remember it until you bring it up.
That's my job, man. That's my job to be the ball buster here.
That's all right.
Well, we had some racing this weekend. 4 tracks got action in for the modifieds. A lot of practices all over the place. Pencan, Fonda, Afton, a few other places getting their practice sessions in. Albany, Saratoga, they kick off this week with the Super Dirt Car Series. But big week, biggest win of the week would have to go to Alex Jankowski on Friday night. Big Diamond, Money in the Mountains, $10,000. And that rain shortened affair. You saw kind of the highlights there. And if you notice, they get clipped real quick when the yellow comes out because it started pouring, and our camera guy was trying not to get his soaked ass. So he was hustling to get that. But it was Jankowski, Buckwalter, Cressley, Laudenreimer, Kevin Beach there. Saturday night, Grandview and Bridgeport were in action. Grandview, again, killing it with car counts. 51 modifieds in the pit area. Jared Umpenauer back in victory lane. If you want to read about that victory, go on over to the front page of Dirt Track Digest. Kenny Bruce caught up with him afterwards. Had a nice little story there. Also talked to second place finisher Justin Grimm. Then you had, Eddie Strada, Jim Houseworth, and Kyle Smith. That'll be the top 5 there. Bridgeport Saturday, fantastic feature. I was lucky I got to produce that one for Dirt Track Digest TV. The Ringo's rocket, starting mid-packish, got the win. Neil Williams, Dylan Stoyer, David Schilling driving the R10 car, a guy where we traditionally see up here in the Capital Region. Now running Bridgeport in the R10, and then Ryan Krachin, who we had on here a couple weeks ago. Then Baps Motor Speedway had the modifieds last night. Billy Pouch Jr. gets it done, gets himself on the board. Rick Laubach, Danny Buck, Dylan Stoyer, and Kobe Fry, the top 5 there. Did you take it? You didn't take in much racing. You were traveling, so you didn't get to see much.
I was traveling pretty much all day Saturday, half the night Saturday night.
You recovered? You good? You back in the game?
I'm good. Yeah. Yep. Got back into the swing of things today, but I did watch some highlights, and like you said, there was some pretty good racing going on this weekend. The one there at Big Diamond, I think it was, it got rain shortened. Looked like that was going to be pretty good before it got rained out. So yeah, just good racing all around, and hopefully we get some decent weather this weekend. We can do some more.
Yeah, this weekend is the weekend, right? I think almost a ton of places open up for their season openers. Whether it's like Albany's running the Super Dirt Car Series, they're going to get things going with that event. I know Airborne was supposed to open Sunday. Mother Nature wasn't too kind to them. Cold temperatures, and then they had a forecast of 70% rain from 4 o'clock on, so that is not ideal to kick your season off with. So they ended up canceling. Obviously Fonda. I think this is the weekend, right? This is the weekend everybody kind of gets things rolling, gets things going, and we jump right in. You kind of go slow, and then bam, here we go. So again, don't forget you can comment on the stream. Of course, you can also give us a call. That number will roll across the bottom of the screen here for you if you'd like to call in, ask us some questions. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, Michael Moresca is going to join us here in a minute. And then, of course, we'll have Dave Chimera, who you don't know much about, but I do. I grew up watching Dave at Fonda Speedway, and now he races up at Devil's Bowl and also at the Airborne Park Speedway. So looking forward to chatting with my good buddy Dave. Known him a long time. It's one of these things in racing, you kind of take it for granted, but it's cool. For me now, looking back at the guys I kind of rooted for as kids that are still racing, like, again, we talk about Billy Decker all the time, but like Tim Fuller, Brett Hearn, those guys, now it's cool. You kind of get a relationship with them. I remember growing up watching Dave Chimera, battling Jack Johnson, Dave Lape at Fonda Speedway. And now, shoot him a quick text. He's like, yeah, man, I'm in. That'd be cool. So looking forward to that chat. I like the veteran guys, the older guys that, some of the stories and stuff they like to tell, and I'm sure Dave will have a lot of them. Dave's a guy who used to run up in Quebec, used to do all those kind of things, back in the day. We have a caller. Yeah, bring him in. Eric Phones is in the stream with audio only. Hey, is this John?
Yeah. How you doing, Matt? Is Matt around?
Yeah, Matt's there. Yeah, he's there.
Yes. Hey, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that yours?
I didn't pick up what he said. Did you hear him?
Yeah, first off, he asked you if that car's yours in the background.
Yeah, that's the one I'll be racing this weekend.
Where you gonna race? You racing at?
Thunder Mountain's got a 2-day deal. The Jan Corcoran Memorial, Friday and Saturday at Thunder Mountain. We'll be there.
Okay. Hey, good luck. It looks very nice.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So
good luck.
So there he is.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John. Rolling across the bottom, you see Lebanon Valley as well. Forgot about them. Tim Hartman, Joey Scarborough, Chris Crane. They kicked it off with Sportsman this year, as they did last year. Chris Crane, AJ Albreda, Nick Giardini, and Tim Hartman, the man to beat at Lebanon Valley in the Sportsman. I don't know how much you probably don't get to watch Lebanon Valley a lot, but man, every week that 22 car is definitely the car to beat when it comes to Lebanon Valley in the Sportsman ranks. And they'll kick off their modified stuff. 358 series visits this Saturday, so that'll be a long time there for the small blocks series event heading there to Lebanon Valley. So what do you think here? I mean, looking, the season kind of gets rolling. We got a lot of racing coming up. You got to be kind of itching here, right? I mean, you haven't been in the car since last fall, so you got to be itching a little bit to kind of get things going.
Yeah, I remember back in October thinking, man, this is going to be a long, 5-6 months. And, here we are, middle of April already, and getting things buttoned up, ready to go. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we're all good to go. We'll shake the car down Friday, hopefully lay down a couple good laps, and then Saturday have a good showing for us.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, I got advice for you. Do you want me to give it to you now, or do you want me to give it to you later?
Wait till Sunday.
Okay, wait till Sunday.
Yeah, wait till Sunday.
I can tell you this.
It's a jinx. I don't care what track we go to. Whenever you say
it. I can tell you what I did not say to Eric last Saturday when we were shooting.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Did not mention the Monster Bash one time until we were done. Now, when I'm shooting you against you, that's a whole different ballgame.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, the off season felt like there was an off season, but once you start, it felt like there was no off season. I mean, you were talking earlier, we were chatting, you were getting cars kind of buttoned up, getting the Brewerton car ready to go. I mean, I think they open in a few weeks here. Traditionally they open a little bit later, but yeah.
Brewerton typically doesn't open until the first week of May. I think in the past they've tried to open earlier and it's never really worked, so they don't even try and schedule anything before May now. I think they might have a practice, but as far as racing goes, there's nothing until May.
Yeah, I mean, there's just I live here in Brewerton, and again, the weather, for whatever it is, this area just holds water. Like we haven't had rain. Well, we had rain, a little bit of rain today, not much, but it's still wet. I mean, my backyard's still got a little bit of a lake in it. It doesn't drain real well. And there's Adam Buchanan popping in May 1st. So May 1st, first weekend of May, you'll get the big block out, get ready to go. Thanks, Adam Buchanan. Thanks for being on board and checking us out. Hey, did you give Moresca the link to get in?
Of course I did.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, we're good to go. That's what I was looking over here a couple minutes ago. I was making sure he was good to go.
Yeah, and he'll be popping in here in a minute.
Yep. Yeah, but we're just about got everything wrapped up. Just a couple small things, and we'll be good to go for the rest of the season here.
Oh, here we go.
I know, shotgun start. That's literally what it feels like to me. Like this weekend, I mean, it just seems like everybody's waiting on a golf course. There's like 100 of us, and then all of a sudden, boom, get going.
Yeah, right. I would agree. Like, how fast can we go? Like let's get going.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I'll tell you when. Don't worry, we got something for Mike when he pops in. I got my first question for Mike ready to go. And you know what it is already, but we'll save it for once he gets in here. The irony is I actually saw Mike this week. Michael, I saw him on Friday night. I went out to dinner and had over in Brewerton or in Beeville. And who walks in? But Mike and the wife, and then Randy Kosaki and his wife popped in. Yeah,
I mean, how coincidental is that? I'm
funny,
surprised
right?
I'm surprised you didn't grill him right then.
No. I let him have a nice dinner. I didn't bust his chops too much.
Sure.
I was good. He's getting things squared away over there on the camera, so we'll let him get squared away. You good, Mike? All right, bring him on in, Eric. We'll bring him in. Well, Mike, how you doing?
What's going on,
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been about 24 hours.
Yeah. How was work Friday morning or Saturday morning?
Pretty good. I had a good day. It was a little muddy, but we had a good day. Yeah, nothing crazy. I had to leave early. I'm always the party pooper. So
yeah, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. All right, I'm going to start this off with the easiest question you're going to have. All right, Eric, go ahead. Pop that in. Okay, I just got to ask you, what were you thinking?
I guess. I
mean,
I had a cool mustache. I don't know. I mean, I do remember that was a super dirt week. I think it was a super dirt week.
Yeah.
And, I think, good times,
Yeah.
Don't let him talk you, Mike.
That's what sold your wife, isn't it? Right there, that photo. That was it.
I tell my wife because I met her I don't know, a while ago up at Drummondville, and I was all I had been racing, and I was actually up there by myself, I think, racing, and her mom grabbed me and introduced us or whatever, and Shay wanted nothing to do with me, but I think she was lying by that picture. I mean,
look at that. Look at the stud you are there.
I know.
Okay, I couldn't resist. I had to go dig deep and find that photo to start this off on a light note.
No, that's good. I like it.
So talk about 2026 so far. Been pretty good for you. I mean, it's good start. Got the win down at Bridgeport. Have been strong so far in the times you've raced.
Yeah, it's been good. Like we got to Bridgeport, I was a little bit almost surprised at kind of how well that went. And then I was happy to follow it up with third the next night. I felt like we were good. Working with Randy has been really cool. I've learned a lot, and this gives me a lot more, I guess, confidence. I don't have to usually worry. I know the car's gonna be pretty good. With him helping make decisions there. And then like Bedford was fun. We were fast there. And just we kept kind of just like chasing, trying to get better and better. And I think I ended up fifth there, but I hit the wall and fell back away. So I was actually fairly happy with that, with how the situation went. And then the last week at Outlaw, we were off a little bit. I didn't feel like we were great, but ended up getting into the top 5, which was cool, and diced it up with those guys a little bit. But we made some changes, so hopefully the next time we go back there, we'll be a little bit better. But that was a new car, and we were just definitely just a little bit off, kind of all weekend there. But overall, I can't complain. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, you mentioned Randy. Talk about having Randy helping you out a little bit. Obviously, your father-in-law, so you got a nice little family connection there. For those who don't know, Randy Kosaki is helping him out now. Again, married to his daughter. It makes sense. So that definitely helps out. And again, it's got to be good to have a guy with that much knowledge behind you.
Yeah, it's a big boost of confidence, and I'm sure Matt can attest to this. Like when you're racing and you're trying to focus on racing, but then you're also trying to make the right calls, like of what to do to your race car, and having someone that like has experience like that, and just is really helpful because I've always tried, and I feel like I've been all right at it, but not to the level that he's been. I might hit it twice a year at a big race where he hits it 9 out of 10. So that's been like a big difference. And then like his how he analyzes things and with the car, and with how I'm driving it and stuff has been really interesting, and like brought up a lot of things that I would have never thought of to try. That is pretty cool. That's been probably the coolest thing about getting to work with him. Plus, he's my father-in-law. We've had a very good relationship, like just personally, but it's pretty cool to go race and together, and have another part of the family into it, and it makes the girls more into it and everything. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean that was when he decided to cut back. Obviously, you don't have the schedule that a Matt Shepard does. You're kind of a weekend warrior now, kind of doing some midweek stuff, but most of it just focused on running the weekends.
Yeah, pretty much running the weekends, like Friday nights and stuff, and there's Saturdays here and there. And there's definitely having Randy, and like there's definitely some races I probably wouldn't have gone to the last couple of years that maybe I'll go to now because I feel like we can be a little more competitive at them. And so yeah, maybe I'd like to do some more. It's just it's that midweek stuff is tough. I wish our big races were on the weekends, but a lot of them are unfortunately on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But that's just tough for anybody to do, I think. But we'll definitely want to try and go to a couple, and when time allows.
So Jamie Weekneck popped in. So here's a question for you. Who is your favorite sponsor that specializes in archery and hunting? Follow up, how much does Uncle Rick have to pony up to get you back to Super Dirt Week?
We'll have to see. I'll have to talk to Randy and see if it's something we think we could do and be competitive at and be prepared to go to. I don't know. I know they badger me every year to go, and I do enjoy it. It's just that's one of those weeks, I don't know. And that's one of those tracks too. I guess if I know my racing style, and Oswego I don't think is a place that suits me great, but it'd be fun to go and I guess have the challenge and do it, especially with Randy there. I feel like it'd probably be a lot more fun than me trying to figure out how to get my car to go around there, because I end up usually looking like an idiot because it's
it's not the mustache.
No. See, back then it was simple, but yeah, no, I would go back and at some point probably, but maybe this year, I don't know. But as far as all your archery needs, make sure you reach out to them. I'm sure I've been to the store a couple times. I don't know if you ever got the chance to go, but if you're into hunting and archery at all, it's like one of the coolest places you can go. Really, really great equipment and knowledge there. One of the coolest things when I went there is Rick has this big map of the world, and we were down in the bottom where he's you're doing arrows, and it's like, what's this map with all these like, you know, thumbtacks on it, like all over Africa, Russia, all these places. He's like, oh, those are places I've sent arrows. I was like, no way. That was pretty cool. I mean, it was all over the world. That was pretty neat.
Yeah,
I
did
look
that.
up. That's something I'd be interested in right
Yeah,
there.
you got to get down there. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, we traveled all over the country. My dad was a target shooter to archery.
Okay.
So, oh my God, it was like state tournaments. I know at one point all the way to Missouri, you know, all over Pennsylvania, all over the place. So I spent a lot of time as a kid in stores like that.
Oh yeah. No, Rick's cool. He's got a lot of good connections in that world and stuff. And he's his father, I believe his father is actually hunted with like Fred Bear, and told a pretty funny story one time. Like Ted Nugent showed up, and his dad's like, "Who is this? This guy showed up, you know, in this Ford Bronco, the loud music. I don't know who the hell this is." And Rick's like, "That's Ted Nugent." Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Jamie Weekman did say you finished second in the 150. Don't worry about what the scale said.
Yeah.
Jamie's coming out firing shots tonight, man. I thought I was with the porn stash here.
No, that was that was another you know, thanks for trying. I had almost suppressed that memory.
Yeah, and then right back in it. Threw it
Leave
right back
the
under the
mic
bus.
to bring it right back up. Well,
I didn't bring it up.
You could have
Jamie
ignored it
brought
though.
Not that time.
See,
you know,
this is why I asked you those questions before, Mike.
No, they're all good. These are good. These are all fair.
You know, talk about your background in racing, how you kind of got started and what got you into racing. And I think you started racing dirt bikes, right? And then kind of went into the dirt racing.
Yeah, so as a kid, I've like always been into, I guess, motorsports. My dad raced dirt bikes growing up, and he was like really good before I was born. And then he was still really fast when I was young, but he was working a lot, so he didn't race much. We'd go into the races every once in a while with him, and we'd watch him ride and stuff, and I'd be riding on the front of his dirt bike and everything. And so I always just loved it. And then we'd watch like Supercross and all that stuff, my mom, my dad, and me. And I was always like super into riding. And I started riding, I think I was like 2 or 3 years old. I had training wheels. And then I didn't really start racing until I was probably 10 or 11. And maybe 9, I don't know, somewhere in there. And I raced dirt bikes for a long time. And then my grandfather raced like pavement modifieds back in the day in like New England. So like Thompson, Waterford, those kind of places. So he was always like pushing to do the stock car thing. We didn't know anything about it. So then we started running like some pavement stuff, like late model Legends cars, stuff like that. And I did okay, not fantastic, but I was okay, I guess. And we were kind of traveling all over and doing it. And then we went to we were actually racing at New Smyrna, and we went to Volusia, and I was like, wow, this is a lot more like dirt bikes, and like I like this a lot more. Like we should really, I feel like, why aren't we doing this? And so then we kind of switched to Sportsman racing, and I raced Sportsman up north for a while. And we traveled with the Sportsman quite a bit. Like we'd go to Rolling Wheels and Weed Sport and stuff like that when they have big races. And we traveled, raced the Sportsman a lot. Ran a lot of races. I actually ran like the Dirt Car Sportsman series back when it used to kind of travel. Not all of the races, but I went to a lot of the ones the Super Dirt Series did. So I did that whole thing back in like 2014. And then I moved to Ohio for work for a summer in 2016, I think. And I started racing big blocks, and that's where we met Russ King out there. I was kind of racing with myself and another guy out there, and met Russ, and that's how my dad and him got to be friends, and we started doing the late model thing, which I think racing with Russell helped me a lot. Just taught me a lot about racing and a lot of the stuff I was missing, and did late model and modifieds. And then when I realized I wasn't going to make it as a professional race car driver, I moved home and I started just kind of, racing back in 2019 or 18 or whatever it was, back around the house. And I feel like that's kind of when I sort of came into my own, I guess, and started winning more modified races and bigger races and stuff like that. Yeah. So then ever since then, it's just been kind of wide open. I moved down to Syracuse like, I guess 3 years ago. And so it's like, moving and like not being at the main shop and like changing jobs and stuff like that. I definitely, have been like not racing as much as I guess I used to. But the last like year or two, I feel like I've been kind of back where I need to be. I might not hit the same number of races, but I feel like we're competitive and kind of back where we need to be.
Yeah. So Joe Fay asked, as someone whose family wasn't into dirt racing, what tips would you give for starting a team and driving today?
Find someone that knows what they're doing. There's so much to learn. There's so much like nuance to it. I mean, like car setup and stuff, like you're gonna buy a Sportsman, like don't, you can set the cars up pretty, pretty simple. It's not like you need to be crazy on that aspect, but like learning how to just organize your trailer and what stuff you need and how to, maintenance your car and keep things in good shape and what things to watch for and what to spend money on. Definitely, you know what I mean? Like you can spend money in the wrong places on this really easily. You talk to everyone, oh, you need this, you need that. Well, there's guys out there winning without that stuff. And don't get me wrong, you got to have the right equipment. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like find someone that even if you have to dish out a little bit of money for that information, it's probably going to save you money in the long term rather than just going and like wasting money and trying to figure it out yourself. I feel like spend a little bit with someone that can help your program and spend a weekend or two with you to like make sure your stuff is ready and your trailer's ready and you have what you need to go succeed. You'll probably have a lot more fun and stay in the sport a lot longer, and you'll probably end up spending a lot less money overall than if you tried to like start from the rip and guess of what you need. But yeah, even if you have a friend or even if you go racing with someone, like help out on a team for a year or two, to like a good team that's been doing it for a while, and you see like the stuff they have and you can make note of that, and then when you start doing it yourself, you kind of know what to expect and what you need to do and what it takes to be successful.
Your relationship, you talked about Russ King. Talk about that relationship with the Kings. They're great people. I love them every time I get to see Russ and Cooter and all the gang out there in Western Pennsylvania. They're just good guys. So talk about that relationship. And you mentioned having people know what they're doing, kind of helping you. And obviously Russ, that's basically what he does, right? I mean, he helps guys get things together, put cars together, all that kind of stuff. So talk about that relationship.
Yeah, Russ is a good friend of mine. We met. He was just starting to do that sort of thing, and before then I actually raced against those guys because Rex and them were racing and we were racing against them, and we were right down the road from them. But met Russ and like got to be really good friends and I lived in his mom's yard for about a year in our toter, and they were super good to me. Really good people. Just he runs they're a great family, super hardworking people, and he has a pretty cool thing going there with like, if you're coming out of go-karts or you had no experience or something, he can kind of get you going, and get you in the right, have the right stuff, and here's what you need, here's what you don't need, and here's what we're going to do, here's where we're going to race and stuff like that, not make the decisions that a lot of us make when we first start.
Yeah, to touch on what you had already, brought up with having someone around that knows, it's easy for someone like you and I to say, you didn't not necessarily know that in like a cocky way, but you hear people, probably ask Randy questions or Scott questions, and they're pretty basic that you think should be already in someone's program, on a weekly basis, and you're like, you didn't know that, and just really simple things that add up to a lot at the end of the day, as far as the wealth of knowledge Randy and Scott have that help out a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Any of those guys, and, there's a lot of other guys. And I think like a lot of people too are like super willing to help. You know what I mean? Like if there was someone that just started racing and wanted to ask, you know, those questions, like I think anyone in the pits, like, you know, myself, Matt, anybody would be like happy to people, you know, people don't want to see you go out there and tear stuff up and waste money. Like people want to help you at least be competitive. I mean, once you start, you know, getting up there, you know, people share less information, but like, you know, when you're starting, I think any team or whatever would be happy to like, you know, have you along to show you how they do stuff, especially if you're going to help them. I think that's a, you know, a good way to do it. I think there's been a lot of people that have done that, you know. And I mean, you think like, I think the best example of it is that Garrett Albertson kid in the late, obviously he always raced and stuff, but he went on the road with, Earl Pearson there for a while and like learned the ropes. And now he's one of the top dudes, but I think he learned a ton of it from being out there with them, seeing how the top team operated, and now he runs one. I'm sure I don't know all the like details of his career, but that's kind of what it looks like from the outside, you know.
Yeah, you can see that. You know, we talked about early on in one of the early episodes about kind of like the Larson effect, where people saw him go through the go-kart stuff and the sprint cars and just progressed all the way to where he's at.
Yeah.
But even with that Garrett Albertson thing, I can see, you know, 3 or 4 guys that are competing on the regional level and the late model stuff and dabbling into the national stuff that, you know, did the same thing that Garrett Albertson's doing.
Yeah, they worked on him, and you know, Ross Robinson, another one, he helped Fuller for a while, and now he can pretty much show up and be pretty competitive. Like, I mean, that's the best way to learn. You know what I mean? Get in with a team that you can model your own team after.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jeff Mangialardo asks, always enjoyed watching you in a late model. Any chance we see you run one again? And what is your job?
Yeah, I would like to. I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to get back in one. It would be cool, you know. If I ever got a ride or something, I would jump on it. I miss it, but yeah, I don't have a car or anything at this point, so I'm probably not gonna go get one. But I would definitely jump in one in a heartbeat again if it was the right circumstance. My job, I'm I'm a diesel heavy equipment mechanic. I run my own service truck kind of around New York, and I'll travel here and there if the the job requires it. But yeah, nothing too crazy, but just yeah, good job.
One more thing to add to the resume: diesel mechanic, race car driver, pro fisherman, AMA, dirt bike racer.
Yeah, back in the day, I'm no pro fisherman either. I'm like people are like, "Oh, you're real good at fishing." I'm like, dude, I'm like a mid-pack hobby stock. Like, I'm racing, but I'm mid-pack. Every once in a while, I have a day, but I'm not.
That fishing stuff is crazy.
And talk about that. You kind of disappeared from racing for a while, and we're doing a lot more of that.
I didn't have much time at that point with some work and things going on, but so I had a little more time to do that, and I was enjoying it. And it translated so much. It was funny. Like it all came down to like preparation and preparation, practice, and just being in the right places at the right times and stuff. I had some success with it. Nothing crazy, just local stuff, and enjoyed it. And I still enjoy. I always enjoy fishing. I always have. But same sort of thing. Like I had a friend that was really, really, really good. He won a lot of big tournaments and stuff, and he like kind of showed me the ropes. And here's what you need. Here's what you don't need. Here's what you need to focus on. Here's how to do this. And I'd spend a lot of time with him and pick his brain. And he was very happy to share that information. It was no different than when I started racing, right? And having people help me. And it's kind of cool. They're actually very similar sports. I always say, like, you can't really tell if you go to blast off at a bass tournament. It's like literally the same people. It's the same people. It's the same thing. There's the competitive aspect. There's people lying to each other in the parking lot. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Well, Cole Trickle asked, did you and Randy go fishing yet?
Oh yeah, Randy. I've taken Randy out a bunch. Actually, I asked him to when I asked him if I could marry his daughter, we were fishing, and But yeah, we fished together quite a few times. He enjoys it as well. We have a good time. We go out there and actually the whole family. My whole family likes to fish. My dad and I fish together a good bit. My wife and I fish together a good bit when we have time. And Randy will go out there too and have some fun.
What got you? You kind of left racing there for a little bit, and kind of focused on the fishing there. Was that just want to try something different, or was there a frustration level? What was it?
No, just time and stuff to keep the car going and stuff. I mean, I never stopped racing. I just raced a lot less, and it wasn't really like frustration. I wouldn't say it was just time, and didn't really have the time that I felt could go out there and like be successful at it. And then life changed a little bit, and I had some opportunities come around, and like, okay, I can race again, and be competitive like I want to be, and put the time. And I had a lot of people help me too last year when I started the business on my own there. If it wasn't for I have three guys that helped me, Frank, Austin, and Jaden. If it wasn't for those guys, I wasn't going to race last year, just starting the business. But they were like, no, like, we'll take care of the car and all that stuff. And they made it really easy on me. And that, made me keep going. Which, things probably would have been a lot different if if it wasn't for those guys. But, I definitely, I kind of realized like, all right, racing's something I'm really good at. Like, you have a finite, period of time. I feel like you can be at your, it's I'm able to do it, so I want to do it. Yeah.
So we do have a caller here. Damon's calling in.
Okay.
So what do we got here? You got it for us here. We'll bring him in. All right, Damon, you got us?
Yeah.
All right, you're on with Matt and Mike Moresca. What do you got for Mike?
I was wondering when he was going to come back to Thunder.
Oh, we're gonna come for the Wade Decker this year.
Okay, that's what I thought. And
Yeah.
then I lost my phone, so I don't know when the Thunder's going to make their schedule change because of practice being canceled. So
We race this weekend, buddy, Friday and Saturday. Friday night, we have timed warm-ups for the modifieds and Sportsman with factory stock, 600 mods and 600 sprints. Then Saturday, we got the mods, Sportsman, IMCA modifieds, and the 600s.
okay, that's that Memorial.
Yep, Jan Corcoran Memorial.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
There's our regular caller, Damon. Have a good night, Damon. There we go. Make sure I didn't miss any other questions here. The one thing, you mentioned, I had to give you a little bit of grief there. I was looking for the milk carton photo that somebody had put up back in the day of your picture on the back of a milk carton. I could not find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we lost you for a little bit. Don Simpson asks, great to see Mike on the podcast. Always strong drivers, always in the mix. Mike, which drivers inspired you the most or had the biggest influence on your career over the years?
I guess so. Like, it's a little different because I didn't grow up really watching it too much. So it's not like I had like a hero or anything like growing up. When I first started, Bobby Varon helped me out a lot with stuff. Obviously, Tim Fuller helped me out a good bit. So I guess Bobby Varon and Tim, I guess, especially Bobby. So I always thought it was pretty cool. Like, he was, he has a successful business as well. And like, same with Billy Decker. I always looked up to him. Same with Tim. All those guys that have been, really good. And the guys that, like, Billy was impressive because he won so many races and ran such a, big business and stuff like that. It's pretty impressive. So those guys. And then, I guess, I don't know, not many like too, I don't have like anyone, too, I really like, oh my gosh, that's my hero, but there's always like a lot of, there's a lot of late model guys I raced with that, even like when I raced with like Max Blair and stuff when he was racing regionally, I mean, he used to kick my ass, but obviously I looked up to him. He was really, really good. And I guess, yeah, nothing like too crazy. I mean, I guess when I was really running, I liked, Billy Decker and
That's good to say
Fuller.
on this show because both Matt and I have the same favorite driver.
Who's your favorite driver?
Billy Decker. That's who I grew up liking as a kid. Yeah. And then Matt's. Yeah, obviously Matt's.
It's kind of it's cool to, like you said, have those people that you kind of leaned on when you first got into stuff. But it's also kind of neat too that I've ran into enough people that don't actually know like Billy or Fuller on a personal level, and they think they're down to the bone serious at all times, but they have no idea what they're like, outside of racing. Even if you're around them at the racetrack, they're having just as much fun as everybody else.
Yeah, they're pretty rowdy dudes for sure. I have some Fuller and I. We had some pretty good times like racing together on the road and get along good. And same with Billy, he was always around. And like I said, I always liked Bobby Varon, I guess, a lot too. Just always like fought hard and did really good. So I guess those three are probably the guys I looked up to the most. Definitely like, as far as like, in today's era, obviously I watch, Friesen a lot and Shepard and Williamson too, to try and, emulate what they're doing because they're doing the most winning.
What couple things for you, we'll let you go. Tommy asked you, do you plan to race in Quebec with SD, the Super Series, or STSS this year?
We've been talking about it. I don't know which one, but we have been floating the idea. Randy and I kind of were like, oh, maybe that's a place I can do good at. So we've been floating that one.
Who's greatest modified driver of all time? We asked everybody that comes on. Who do you think the greatest of all time? Now you're different because you didn't grow up in it like the rest of us.
So I'll say this. I guess what's most impressive to me is, so when I got into the sport, say 2012, 2013, Brett Hearn was still, winning championships and kicking ass and everything. And he won, he was winning just as much in the 70s and all that stuff. So to me, that's the most impressive because, like, I know how hard it is to be competitive, and how much things have changed since I've started racing. And you look back in the 70s, like, it's not even the same race car, right? So for him to have that success and that amount of success throughout those years, I guess it probably puts him at the top, right? To be, on top for 40 years is pretty impressive. And, professional about it and always kind of on top consistently. I guess that's the most impressive to me. I'd say Brett Hearn, but I know there are plenty of other guys that were probably, that I don't know, that were really good too. But to me, that's kind of the most impressive. I say the same thing about like Bloomquist and Billy Moyer. Like, they were extremely good back in the day in the, the 70s and 80s, 90s, and in the modern era too. So that's the most impressive to me, is that the guys can, like, they're just good no matter what the situation were. And that's, I guess, the most impressive thing to me, not so much the speed or the wins or whatever, to be that good throughout that, like, different period of racing,
So last one before we let you go here. How about favorite track, late model, and your modified favorite track?
Favorite track. It's a tough one. This is tough. I always really liked Brockville. I know it's kind of a little place, but I always liked it there. I like Outlaw. I like racing there. Port Royal was always really fun in both cars. Trying to think where else I really, really like. Brockville, I always really loved it there. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other cool places I went. I always really liked Volusia too. That's probably one of my favorites. Trying to think where else. Been to some pretty cool places. I've been to like Wayne County. That was really cool. I liked Wayne County. I don't think anything else. Those are probably my favorites, like Wayne County, Brockville, Outlaw, Volusia. Yeah, those four, I'd say.
You going to Cornwall this year? Kevin asked.
We'll see. I guess it depends. What we do in the fall. If we come, it'll probably be in the fall. Like we have the last 2 years. We have a lot of fun up there on that weekend. A lot of fun.
Yep. Well, we'll let you go here, but I want to give you a chance. Thank any sponsors, any folks you got to thank before we let you get out of here, buddy. And we appreciate you being on.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank my family first. All my family, my parents, my in-laws, my wife for giving me the opportunity to do this. My crew, Frank, Austin, Jaden, the Davis family, those guys all work super hard and give us an opportunity to go out there and compete. Weeknight Archery, Integra Racing Shocks. I can't thank all the people that have been behind me for a number of years. It's pretty awesome. My grandpa that got me started in this whole deal, Multi-Craft Construction, Leahy's Racing Engines, Wagner Automotive, all those guys. I appreciate all the support that they've given me, and it goes a long way.
Well, hey, buddy, thanks for taking the time out of your day to stop by with us.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Good.
I can keep going. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, don't get shy. We might have to have you back on when we get in the middle of the summer here.
Yeah, anytime. I had a really good time and happy to do it. So
when Mike's at 30 wins by July, we're going to be calling you back.
Yeah.
I got to race 30 times.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, thanks a lot, Mike. You have a good night, brother.
Hey, you too. See you guys later.
Yep.
Bye.
So there's Mike Moresca. Good to chat with him, catch up with him. I figured if we broke the ice with that photo, Matt, that would be a good way to start this. Get it off on the right foot. Get the porn stash conversation out of the way, and then jump into it. But really cool. Yeah, really cool. But I think you should go with that little porn stash. You do it, I'll do it.
I don't think I'm capable of it.
Can you even grow that much up there, or no?
Probably not.
No, I'll shave it all off. If you do it, I'll do it.
No, I don't. Like I don't think I can grow it.
We can paint it on.
Maybe get a Sharpie, darken it up or something.
Yeah. All right, from a guy with the porn stash to the guy with the beard. Let's bring him on in here, Eric. There he is, my man, the Flash, Dave Chimera. Dave, how are you tonight?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
I am great. It's nice to have you on.
It's good to be on. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I don't get to see you too much. I don't get up to your neck of the woods that much anymore. But, I figured it was a good week to have you on. You guys are just about ready to get going. We're supposed to get going. Unfortunately, Mother Nature kind of kicked you in the butt on that one.
Yeah, that's the North Country, and this time of year is just a hit and miss thing. We could get snowed out this weekend for all we know.
Yeah, you never know. Right.
Nope.
Now, Matt, that's a Vermont accent, just so you know. He's from Vermont. Just letting Matt know.
I can tell. I mean, we're north, but not that north.
So, Dave, one of the reasons I want to have you on, we like having veteran drivers. I'll call you veteran driver. Is that okay? Veteran driver.
Yep.
And let's, talk about your career. We'll start way back. Obviously, I watched you a ton when I was a kid. Don't want to make you feel old, but when I was a kid, racing Fonda Speedway. Then you took a hiatus and said, hey, what the hell? Let's go back into it. So first, let's get into that. Like what, you kind of left, I don't know, was it 12 years, 15? I mean, it was a pretty good gap there. And now you're back.
Yeah, it was, I think 13 years. I took a break. We started back in 1990. We were running Malta and Devil's Bowl, 358s at the time. We were the competition at Malta back then was so stiff. Alan, Danny, Tremont. I mean, they had 50 cars every week, and we basically couldn't qualify. So we went up north to Mohawk. It was Frogtown back then, but Mohawk and Cornwall, and we called that home for 3 or 4 years, racing against more guys my caliber. And then probably 95 or 96, we came to Fonda, and we called Fonda home for 15 years, probably 14 years. Yep. Long time.
What got you into racing? How'd you get into car racing?
Always had been around cars. We were Jack Johnson fans.
I won't hold that against you.
Yeah, well, it's
As a
all
Dave
good.
fan.
Yeah, well, those two don't mix together, do they? Huh?
No, no.
That's kind of like I became friends with CD after. I became older, but boy, when I was younger, he was not. He was not even on my list as far as liking him. That's just the way it was, right?
Yeah,
You were faithful to your guys, and that's the way it was. But as a kid, always had go-karts, four-wheelers, three-wheelers, kind of got out of high school and I was racing quads all over the Northeast, 2 or 3 nights a week. My dad really didn't care for it. It was he called it dangerous, but whatever. So we basically, he wanted me out and I wanted to do something. So I was going to buy a street stock to run up to Devil's Bowl. And being good friends with Jack the way we were, my dad told my brother Dan, who was I think 13 or 14 at the time, he said, you call Jack, see if he can build us a car and put us a program together, and if he does, we'll buy a car and we'll go racing. So Dan got on the horn and he made the deal happen.
And there it is.
Yep.
Talk about Jack Johnson. We have, a lot of, veteran guys that race with a lot of different people, but talk about having that relationship with Jack. I mean, anyone that's a Fonda fan, like I'm a Fonda homer, I'll always be a Fonda homer no matter where I go. Jack Johnson is still the man. Like we can joke Dave Lape, CD, all that, but Jack Johnson's still the man, and talk about for you having that relationship, what that was like kind of, being around Jack Johnson. I mean, he was the coolest dude in the pit area. Toothpick in his mouth, sunglasses on, just a badass dude. Like,
never upset, always focused. He was a lot like, he reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad is very similar. But I mean, obviously it was very intimidating. Being around Jack for a few years in the pits, just going to the races, you kind of got to know him a little bit more, got to know Ronnie and Natalie. They were younger, and Andrea, Jack's wife at the time, became good friends with all those guys. And then it was very intimidating, here I knew nothing, and I'm down to the shop and I'm spending 3 or 4 days in a row at his shop, and he was very cut and dry. There was no BS. He told me something from day one. He said, I will tell you anything once. I will never tell you anything twice because you don't pay attention. He said, I'm not. And because I'm sure over the years, he probably had a lot of guys come to him and they probably questioned what he said, and I had so much faith in the guy that if he told me to put my helmet on backwards, I would have put it on backwards. But it was, as I got older, we really became great friends. I would call him, even when I was running Cornwall in Frogtown. He had never been to those places, but he was great friends with Bob McCready. Bob had been up there many times. So Jack would make some calls and he would call me and we'd kind of get us on the right track. But he just became a great friend, great mentor. As I got going on in my career, there was weeks that we were better than him, and he might call me on a Sunday morning and pick my brain about things, which always made me feel pretty good because, I'm thinking, holy moly, this guy's calling me. But there's times that everybody struggles,
right.
And so it was such a great relationship, not just with him, but his whole crew and Ronnie and everybody that was part of the Jumpin' Jacks team back then.
Yeah, talk about racing, back that era, the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, you had, Fonda was the track of champions during that area for a reason. I mean, it was a tough weekly field, and then all the big events, you got all the big name guys would come in, they just talk about that era of racing and how tough and how challenging it. And look, you had some great years, those years too.
It was mentally, it was very tough. It was, at first it was like I say, intimidating, because we didn't do a lot of traveling at first, so we didn't know, I think Billy Decker and Jack. I knew Fuller from up north. That's really all the guys that I knew. You know, I knew Bob McCready a little bit and the Johnson brothers, but it was very, very tough. Went to Rolling Wheels a few times, and I remember we were running radios back then. And I told my brother, I said, listen, if they get on the same straightaway as me, that they're going to lap me, tell me, because I literally would pull over and let 10 cars go by. I just wanted to go out and make some laps and try to follow somebody as long as I could. And I think those guys respected me for that. I mean, hey, as a fan, how many times have you seen the guy that's 12 laps down take the leader out? You know, it's just a bad deal, bad deal. So I didn't want to be that guy. So then when they came to our home turf at Fonda, we were a little more competitive with them. And listen, any one of those guys, man, you could race your guts out. They wouldn't bump you, you know, I was more worried about me bumping them than it was the other way around, you know. But once you get to know all those guys, they put their pants on one leg at a time. So you just gotta think about that and just do the best you can.
One of the things from that era we don't talk about much anymore is USNA. Now, that's something you ran. Talk about USNA and what it was like, you know, kind of running that. I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, that was, you know, that was the split, right? That was you got the dirt car or, you know, dirt at that time, and you had the USNA deal. Talk about that and talk about your experience on that. And you had some success there.
I mean, it's basically like dirt and the short track super series now. It's kind of the same, thing. Two guys came on board with a pile of money, and I don't remember, we were running maybe 10 races, 12 races. They were all on weekends. They were on Saturdays and Sundays. They were great guys. They were great races that they put on. The tracks were all real good. And like I said, there was a lot of guys that didn't support them. I kind of looked at it like, everybody complains about the purses and everybody complains about this, and you got a guy that's willing to, you know, the first race they had at Syracuse, we won and we cashed in 30 grand. So here I am, you know, I'm used to winning 1,500 at my home track. And I go out there and win 30,000 right off. We ended up second in points, and I think we got 40 or 50,000. You know, it was supposed to be 100 for the winner. Jack ended up winning the points, but you know, he told us three races short of the season that he was broke. So this is what I got left, and this is what I'm going to give out. You know, I commend him because, you know, Jack had told me there's been a lot of promoters that probably wouldn't have given that money away.
Wouldn't have given you a nickel.
Yep. But they were all big races, 100 lappers, 200 lappers. They were a lot of fun. You travel into some place on a Saturday night and you just go out and race as hard as you can.
What was it like? We'll talk about Syracuse. You know, you won at Syracuse, the USNA race. How different was it not being Super Dirt Week?
It was a lot different. I mean, a lot of the same guys were there. It was actually the first 200 lapper at Syracuse. We won it on fuel mileage. Sure, it would have been a lot more sweeter if it was Super Dirt Week, you know, but it's still, you know, at the end of the day, it was 200 laps at Syracuse you had to endure. And the craziest part about it is that every fall we would build a new car. We would put a special car together for Super Dirt Week. And that year we went to the USNA race. I had my Saturday night Fonda motor in. I had my Saturday night body on. And we go out and win the race, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's pretty cool, you know, pretty cool.
Now let's fast forward here. You took a break. What's it like being back? You know, you've been back, what, 3 years now? Is this your going on your fourth year?
It's going on my fourth year.
Yeah. What's it like being back?
It's tough. You know, I sit on pit road waiting to go out and I'm doing the math in my head and I'm like, whew, I'm the oldest guy out here. And I used to be the youngest. So that's kind of a wake up call, so to speak, you know. a lot of it's the same. It's the people. The people are
Mhm.
great no matter what. The drivers. A lot of the drivers are different. A lot of these younger guys, they're different. A lot of them I don't even never even heard of before. They've never heard of me. Um, cars are completely different. Motors are altogether different. But at the end of the day, it's still. We go to Plattsburgh on a Thursday night and we park next to Mahaney. And Vince Quinville's a couple down from us. The Stones are a couple down from us, and it's the same. It's the same old deal. I think we need a little bit of old school in today's world. There's no repercussion a lot. These kids are all taught to go, 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 and that's the way it is. But when old Jumpin' Jack walks down pit road and he squeezes you on the back of the neck and gives you that stare because you gave him a slide job, you didn't do it the next week. That's just the way it was. Or whether it was Louis or CD or Alan Johnson, like you respected those guys.
Right.
I don't think the respect. I can't say maybe it's not respect, but the drivers don't communicate with each other anymore. A lot of the younger guys, they're in their trailers and they're on their phone and they're going through lap times, and you go to the drivers meeting and nobody even talks to each other. It's just different. But it's still, hey, we're having a blast. It's a different deal today for us. We're doing it more for fun than anything. So,
well, if you need somebody to come to a driver's meeting and bust your balls, I can do that.
That's absolutely. Come on up.
I'm good at that. Matt will always tell you I'm good at that.
That's what we need. We need to liven it up a little bit.
Quick question.
I will say Devil's Bowl and Plattsburgh are a little more laid back, like it used to be. A lot of the kids that race there, I raced with their dads. So it's kind of the same people, the same group of people that have been there for quite a few years. So it's a lot more laid back there.
Yeah.
Than most places.
Go ahead, Matty.
No, yeah, I was going to ask, being a guy that's raced over the years and with the progression.
You can't hear Matty?
No. No.
Talk a little louder there, buddy. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Matt or no?
No, I can't hear him.
Huh. You can
Eric's
hear me, Mike?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. I'll keep going, and then if we get you back, Matt, we'll get you in here. Or you can type it in the chat, and I'll ask it. So we have a fan question for you, Dave. Joe Fay asks, what's the key to setting up cars in today's age? And does the increase in tech make it easier or harder to do a series that travels to different tracks weekly?
The tech piece, I don't know. I kind of struggle with it. These guys that run the series, when you run a big block every week, or you run with Brett stuff, I mean, it's pretty much basically open. Like, I don't think there should be a lot of tech. 358s and crates, I think the crate stuff should be tech more. We run a crate car on Saturday night, and, there's not against the odd that Mike might pull your motor on a Saturday night and go down to dyno it down to Hunts. I just think to keep that class going, which is huge, there needs to be more tech in it. But that's everybody has their own opinion. Talking with Shepard, he, like in Florida, if they're going to do any teching or puff the motor or anything, he's like, it's a block. What's the check?
Right.
So I get it. I get it. And setting up today's cars, I don't have a clue. I'm not going to lie to you. My brother Dan, he's back on board with me, and he is a huge piece of the puzzle. And between the input we get from Shepard and my brother Dan takes care of all that, and everything is so technical now. We used to just move the pan hard bar half an inch and we're fine. Or ride heights were within an eighth of an inch, you're fine. Well, now you're spring smashing within, tenths of an inch or a tenth of a pound. Everything is it's so detailed. And I think for a younger guy, it's easier for them to wrap their head around it. You know, I'm still back in the torsion bar day. I'm like,
Right.
okay, what is that spring equivalent to on a torsion bar? And I'm learning more. You know, we did some stuff with Shepard last fall with the 358, and then we went to Florida, helped him. So just being around those guys and listening and picking his brain a little bit, you start to learn, you start to understand things more. But everything is so finesse today.
Yeah. How much did it mean to you to notch a win and get the 26 back in victory lane after that long time off?
It was big. It was real big. Mentally, probably more than anything. Something that still kills me and probably always will, but we had a good night at Fonda with Wes's car one night, and we led quite a lot of the feature, and we had a right rear shot go bad, and I still, that haunts me all the time. But it's just one of those things, you know. But it's big. It's big. Today I have all my kids at the racetrack. I have my grandson, another grandson now, 2 grandsons go, and a lot of kids that I've known over the years teaching football or baseball or whatever. They're at the track. My dad goes on the infield, and we're all hanging out in the trailer. We're just really, really enjoying it. It's like there's no pressure. We want to win. I mean, there's no doubt.
Right.
We want to win, and we're focused. But, you know, if I just want to load the thing up at the end of the night and go home, and we'll fine tune it. But to get that win was big. It was big.
Talk about the family aspect of it. You kind of touched on it there. I know that matters a lot. Like you're there, your brother, your dad, your son, grandkids. I mean, that's got to be really sweet for you and fun for you, to be and to be home, right? A lot of people ask, well, why are you running Sportsman modifieds on Saturday, running 358? Well, I mean, you're home, right? I mean, you're out. Devil's Bowl is what, 10 minutes from home.
10,
I mean, you're right there.
10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Granted, the year we ran Fonda with Wes was fun, but my dad didn't go, my brother Dan didn't go. That was probably the toughest season I've ever had mentally because those guys were always there, so when we came back to the bowl the following year, it's close, it's convenient. It's just nice having everybody around. My grandson, he gets in the trailer, he's 3.5 now. You could have went out and done the stupidest thing in the heat race and peeled the left front off and got your butt chewed out by your brother. But I go in the trailer and Bentley's just as happy. So, there at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's just,
right.
And that's what it's all about,
And Danny's going to fix it anyways.
Dan's going to fix it. He might grumble a little bit here and there. And, there's going to be a few words and that's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, he's going to fix it and whatever, we're going to go on, but it's big. It's big. When I was younger, I don't think you really appreciated that. I wanted to go to the next race. I didn't care if we were 500 miles from home or a half a mile from home. But now it's different. I don't want to travel. I don't really have any desire to travel. My son, David, he's a big piece of it. Now Dan with his wife, Autumn, Dan's daughter, Autumn, she is just 2 years ago. I think he went to the Fonda 200 and he was going to miss one of the nights at Devil's Bowl. And he had said something to her about missing the bowl to go to Fonda. And she says, well, you can go help Matt. I'm going to the bowl with Uncle David. And that's all there is to it. And she went with me. So it's just, those are the cool things, it's making memories. That's, and that's, as you get older, you start to understand that that's what life is more about.
Yep. And you're having fun. I mean, that's the key here. That's it.
Yep.
So we got some questions coming in here. Cole Trickle asked, did you and your team enjoy going up to Granby? I know you ran up there regularly. And I know there's a couple this week on Dirts that you were driver of the week for your performances up there at Granby. I always send you, whenever I watch one of those old ones, I always send you the picture of you as driver of the week.
Yeah. Granby was probably, it's one of my favorite racetracks. The facility up there back then was second to none, and I believe it's still the same. The fans up there are great. They had to tunnel under the track, so the fans were always in the pits. And, the Canadians were they're out of their mind excited about racing. it was just a beautiful place. And we had a lot of friends, up there. And there's a few of the guys that I still talk to, and we talk 3-4 times a year. Since I've gotten back into racing, we became reacquainted. And we did have some success up there. The guys were fun to race against, and the track was just beautiful. You could, it was one of the wider tracks in the corners you could go to, and you could just race all over. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and that was a grind back then. I mean, again, you've talked a little bit about it, but man, you were running Granby, Fonda, but a lot of you guys were doing that, right? Like that was kind of a normal thing to do and for you, it's not as far, going up to Granby, but I mean, those are the days. I mean, you had Steve Payne driving away out there, at one point, we talked to Frank Cozy a couple weeks ago, and he was making the tow from PA all the way up to Cornwall, but that was kind of the thing then, right? They were willing to help you guys get up there.
Yeah. I mean, they treated us very well. I'm going to tell you, essentially, the reason we kind of stopped going was because the border got tough coming back into the United States. They would give me grief because we had the big hauler with 2 cars, and why do you have so many tires, and why do you have so many shocks? And it got to be a grind. It ended up being an hour or 2 hours at the border, and I couldn't deal with it anymore because, like you said, Granby's 3 hours one way, Fonda's 2 hours in the opposite direction. So we were doing a lot of traveling, but we're kind of in the middle of nowhere here compared to central New York. So anything we do is travel. So, and when you're 25 to 30, one year we went to Granby on Fridays, Fonda on Saturdays, sent the big hauler home with the guys. And one of the guys brought down the small trailer with the 358, and we were running Weedsport on Sundays with the 358. So then when Dan and I would go out, and when we come home, we would pull into the shop as the sun was coming up. It was a long weekend.
That's a long weekend.
It's just what you did,
Right.
You just wanted to race. And I always said that if Brett was racing 3-4 nights a week, I need to be racing 5. Just to even kind of be halfway competitive, and all those guys were the same. They were all just so good,
Matt, ask your question, then I'll repeat it if you can't hear you.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to know what the difference was between racing the cars then and now.
So talk about the difference between, you were talking torsion bars earlier, talk about racing then and now. I mean, I hear from a lot of the guys that have, the veteran guys, like a Billy Decker or Tim Fuller, just how much more, I'll say diabolical the cars are. What do you think compared to, then and now?
Then it was patience, throttle control. Like I've made the joke to people before that I can remember if we're running at Weedsport, you literally used your big toe to run the throttle because that's all you could touch the gas. Lot of brake, keeping the car straight. Really a lot of finesse. And that's why these, the McCready's, the Johnsons and Brett, that's why they were so successful because they were so smooth. Today, it's almost like you need to manhandle this thing. I remember the first time I drove Wes's car at Fonda, and I think Eric Mack from DKM told me, he says, you have to drive this thing like you absolutely hate it because it's not the same. They are a handful to drive. They beat you up every corner of the racetrack. Because you're softer now on coils, you feel every little ripple. Like there could be a quarter on the racetrack and you feel like it's a 6-inch hole. It's just, everything is just so technical. You don't use hardly any brake. You drag the brake some, getting into the corners. It's almost like once you set the car, you drive in harder and it goes in better. It's just a totally different mentality. And about every 8 or 10 laps, I'll roll into the third turn at Airborne and I'll let off the gas and roll in, and the thing acts like it wants to tip over, and I lose 3 spots, and I'm like, stupid, wake up. It's not those days anymore. It's just, and a lot of it's habit. Yeah,
it's hard to unteach yourself. That's hard to do.
Muscle memory is just so crazy. the first time I got into Wes's car years ago, the shifters for the Burt transmissions were always between your legs. Well, now they're on the right-hand side of the cockpit. You run it's a remote shifter. Every time I pulled out on the track that whole season, I reached down between my legs just because it was habit. Pulling out of the pits at Fonda, when you pulled out of the cow palace, you reached down. And every time I said to myself, it's not there, but it's muscle memory.
Right. You just do it.
You just do it. And it's crazy how it stays with you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So we have Cody Decker asked every driver that comes on, and you heard us talking to Mike Moresca. What is who do you think is the greatest modified driver of all time?
Boy, that's tough. My heart wants to say Jack Johnson. There's just been so many guys. I mean, look at Louis back in his day. Look at Billy Pouch, Brett, and even Shepard and Friesen, Matt Shepard he's always amazed me. He doesn't have, Matt has good stuff, but he does all his own stuff. He works on his own car. He doesn't have a guy coming in to wash his panels. I mean, he does everything from start to finish. And for a guy to climb to the top and stay on top for as long as he has and still be as humble and still work as hard, because you know how it is. Oh, geez, we won a few champions. Now I'm going to hire a guy to come in on Sundays. I'm going to go sit at the beach. Well, he's his own guy. And that just always impressed me, that he's done that grind for so long, and he's just as hungry today as he was, 20 years ago. So I would say Matt. That's obviously, there's a lot of great ones. It's really tough to say.
That's a tough question. It's a loaded question, because we always you debate eras, you debate guys in their prime and all that, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, you look back when, Jack was in his heyday, CD was, David Lape was, Bob McCready, Alan Johnson, Danny Johnson, Steve Payne. There was so many guys that could go to Wheatsport any week and win. It's a little different now. But who's to say? Who's to say that it's different? Maybe Matty Williamson and Friesen and Shepard are just so good that the other guys don't get a chance, so to speak. But you throw Larry in the middle. Look at Larry in Florida.
Right.
He
digs down to mid-all-tech.
Just incredible, and he's been on a struggle for the last couple of years. So to see him do that it's pretty awesome, and I think he's got a few people buying some older chassis now. He's got in their heads a little bit probably, but it's tough. That's a tough question.
Yeah, it's loaded. We know it's loaded, but we have to ask. We have to ask.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned Shepard. Talk about having Shepard in the car there at the end of the year. I know your son wanted you to do some more racing and travel a little bit, and then you ended up with Matt running the car a little bit. Talk about how that all came together, and are there plans to have Matt in the car again for any of that stuff, or which way you guys going?
Well, when we decided to put a 358 car together, obviously my brother Dan called Matt. They talked 3-4 times a week, and Matt had offered for us to bring the car out there. He said to Dan, do X, Y, and Z, bring it out. Matt went through it, scaled it, and just did everything. These stack springs and all this, load extension, all this stuff is just, it's Greek to Dan and I both. So Matt kind of set us up with 2 or 3, 4 different setups. If you're feeling this, do this. If you're feeling this, do this. It was racing for dummies, as you want to call it, right? And I'm not going to lie, when I first went to Airborne with the 358, I was like, this thing is incredible. And it would he put us on the program right from day one. So I had been talking to Dan during the season that I would like to do something with Matt in the fall. As an appreciation thing for him helping us. And B, he doesn't have a small block program. So if we can bring our program that he basically has helped us with, we do some races. So we did, what did we do? 4 races.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was,
Mm-hmm.
it was, unfortunately, I ended up staying home most of the time because we were struggling at the quarries, and it just wasn't fit. But I know my son David had an absolute blast. It's kind of the same stuff for Dan, but for David to go out there and for Matt to set on the pole, the 358 at Oswego, and it just is pretty cool to see your son experience that stuff. And it's just pretty wild, and hey, to have Matt in your corner is,
can't complain.
Listen, I've been very fortunate throughout my life with everything I've ever done, whether it's the quarry, whether it's the racing. It's about knowing the right people. And, I think of it as I had Jack Johnson as a mentor when I started, and here I am 25 years later, and I got Matt Shepard in my corner. It's like, I think we did okay.
Yeah, you did okay there. I'll give you that one. Yeah, you did okay. I'll give you that one.
But it was cool. It's just cool. It's, we haven't really talked a whole lot about this fall. I mean, I've told the boys that I want to do it. It's kind of up to Matt. We'll see. We'll see what we got left at the end of the year.
Yeah, your plan same as it was, running the Bull and Airborne?
Yes. Yep. We talked about maybe doing a few of the 358 shows at Malta, but the problem is that we have a few weeks off at Airborne, and none of those nights off match up to the 358 shows at Malta, which is that's a given. It's going to be that way. Just so I told the boys I wouldn't be against going to Utica a couple times, or going somewhere, not crazy, but doing a few more just to get out there and try a few different tracks, and my son David, he wants me to hang up the pickaxe for the quarry and go racing full time, but that's not going to happen. They're done that.
Utica Rome, I think one of the first times I interview would probably the maddest I've ever seen you. I've never, you're a pretty laid back guy. Yep. And I want to say it rained. It was miserable. The track was a plowed cornfield, and you were just like, what are we doing? I still remember that.
It was pouring sometimes, those kind of track conditions, they kind of get to you.
It was bad. It was bad. It was spring conditions times 10. It was bad.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but I get it. When you're a promoter, hey, you're trying to get the race.
Right.
They're living on a double-edged sword. I mean, you know that now.
It's a different era now with that too. It's a different era. So, you know what I mean? Yep.
I don't know how these promoters deal with the internet today. With the Weather Channel, there's guys already posting stuff on Airborne Park that, it's supposed to rain Sunday, and Mike's like, give me a break, it's 6 days away, and you're already predicting it. Like,
don't worry, 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I went on a rant for the first 15 minutes of the show about people in weather. Like, stop, it's Monday. What do you don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. Let's chill out.
We'll get up Sunday morning, we'll look outside, lick your finger, put it up in the air, and we'll figure out what's going to go on.
There you go. Right.
But it's got to be a promoter's nightmare, because if it looks like rain, a lot of these people will say, well, instead of going to the races Sunday, or instead of going to Airborne, we might go to Malta on Friday night.
Right.
So it's tough, but everybody has their challenges. That's just the way it is,
We got a couple more comments here for you, then I'll let you go here. Cole Trickle said, first time I ever went to Fonda was the first Rush Hour and Dirt live TV race. I remember Dave racing with Jimmy Horton for the win, with Jimmy winning. And that's the controversial one, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, Matt doesn't know this story, because Matt doesn't. He doesn't. We were prepping for the show today. He's like, Dave, and I'm like, yeah, Dave Fonda all that, but Matt's only 25, so he's.
No, I get it. Yeah.
26.
I got kids older.
26, now, so. Sorry, 26. 26. I was off a year.
Yep. That was probably one of my first big races that I was very confident and comfortable in, and I think that race really helped me a lot weekly at Fonda, just mentally. We came through the field, and unfortunately it started sprinkling with about 7 or 8 to go, and it kind of took the track away. But there was 30 guys out there, and we all had to race the same. You know, it's I think about it today, you know, we used to run radios back then. So there was radio racing, and who wouldn't, right? Like when you're racing for 10 grand back then or whatever it was.
Right. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. You know, it still is. So who's to say, you know, you're not going to move to the bottom when you've been running the top all night? If you don't, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
But it was a tough. It got to be tough at the end after we went through tech and all the stuff that went down.
George Smith just said it. Locker.
Locker. Yep.
For you don't know, Matty, locker rear end. Right. Horton was running a locker rear end, or allegedly. Yeah.
Well, they marked the tires before we went out, and the tech guy at Fonda at the time, I don't remember what his name was, but
Kenny Bruce. Don't pick on Horton. Kenny Bruce is a Jim Horton fan, or Jimmy Horton fan.
Listen, Jimmy, I love Jimmy. You know, and that was probably more. I love Charlie DeAngelis, but that was probably more Charlie's doing than it was Jimmy's. You know, Charlie was a very, very sharp man. But hey, you did what you had to do. That's like it was. You know, and the lockers were still kind of in the gray area back then. You know, might have been more to the black area than gray, but whatever. Now that we look at it,
that day for you, it was in the gray. Unfortunately, yeah.
And you know, hey, the way it went down, I felt the tech inspector from Fonda had told me what had happened, so I went to protest the race, and the tech inspector ended up getting fired because Glenn didn't like anybody picking on his boys, and it just, it is what it is. You know, I look back on it. At that time, it was probably the end of the world, but I look back at it now, and it was a huge piece. Like, you know, to finish second to Jimmy Horton in the first TV race. Charlie was his crew chief. You know, Charlie come over and he bear hugged me harder than my guys bear hugged me after the race. He was excited for us, you know. So it was pretty cool. You know, it would have been great to win it, but we could have been in the pits too. So
Yeah, and George said it. Glenn would not DQ the winner, as that was the first TV race, and felt people would go nuts if they DQ'd the winner.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I get it.
Yeah.
You know, there's more to it than what people know, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of it.
So all the years you've been racing, we'll give you, like I said, a couple more questions. We'll let you go here.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite guy to race with?
Oh, I would say probably Timmy Fuller. Fuller and I started about the same year, and we, after a few years of running Frogtown and Cornwall, we started running Can-Am on Saturday nights. We were making that trip. It was a 5-hour trip. We were making it every Saturday, but got to be really good. Yeah.
Dedication, man.
Yep. So we ran there for a few years, and Timmy started running the tour about the same time as I did, and we were kind of two of the same, you know. Bob was helping him. Jack was helping me. Timmy's a lot like I am. Kind of, you know, when you're in your moment, you're quiet, you're focused. You know, when you're out of that element, well, you have a great time, but it's just, you know, so I would say over the years probably had more fun. He used to make the joke that he could be lapping me, and if I looked out my right side and saw his car, I would pick up 3/10. He said, if I was your guys, I'd put a silhouette of my car in your window. And he says, you would never lose a race. But it was the same way with him. You know, we were both two of the same. So it's cool, you know, racing airborne with him again. It's having fun with it, you know?
Yeah. George said Fuller looks younger.
Yeah, he does. He has it easier.
Yeah, you got the beard. That's why you got the gray beard. If you didn't have the gray beard, you'd be fine. You'd be fine.
I was going to shave it off a couple days ago, but
Do you want to go with the porn stash thing that we're going to do here? We were busting on Matty earlier in Moresca, so we could go porn stashes.
Dude, I could go set that up right now.
You could live right here on the show.
Keep it up.
Our producer, go ahead.
I had a porn stash for years, and my kids all see the pictures and how they laugh. Dad,
I want to say that's the picture that's on when you were driver of the week for This Week on Dirt. I want to say it was, yeah.
Oh yeah. And I had hair back then. We both did. So
yeah, me too. And I had a lot less down here.
Yeah, for sure.
Our producer Eric asked in our chat. He said, "Who's the toughest driver, the most frustrating driver you raced against?" The one that got that just was just tough.
I would say Jack, only because it was Malta and Fonda every week.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving your guts out in a day race. And I remember there was a few times that, Varen and I were going at it first and second. And, you're just struggling for an inch of brown around the bottom, around the tires. And next thing you know, 4 or 5 laps later, you see the front tires, and it's the Bobar's car at the time. He's running right through the middle of the slick, and he's just driving away. With 5 to go, you can barely see him, and it's just like, how is it possible? How is he doing that? Like, and many times at Malta, many a times, and just always in amazement of, only because I raced with him so many times. It always amazed me, always did.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them. Alan was an A1 guy to race with. Bob McCready. Bob taught me a few lessons, old school way. I actually shared with Timmy. I saw Timmy shortly after his dad passed, and I shared a couple of those stories with Timmy. He'd never heard them, and it was just, it was Bob. It was Bob teaching you, mind your P's and Q's. And it's the way it was,
Yeah, well, you were the young up and comer then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So what I'll do is, Dave, I'll give you a chance to thank some of your sponsors, and then I'll let you go here, man. We appreciate your time. It's been awesome chatting with you. It's really, really been fun.
Well, I appreciate you having us on, it's just, I enjoy doing this, a lot more now than I used to, and it's just, it's the new way of stuff, if you'd have told somebody back 30 years ago, you were going to be doing this, they'd have looked at you like you got 3 heads.
Yeah, right. We're doing this on the
what?
Yeah. Where are you doing it? What's the internet?
Cell phone?
Yeah, right.
Well, first off, I got to thank my family. Without all of them, not just now, but all through the years, all of our Chimera Slate employees, we were gone a lot years ago. And even today, we bail out at noon on Thursday, and my guys keep the bump and the grind going. Dan's a huge piece. He works on the car full time. He just keeps everything going. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't go to the shop very often, just because I'm so busy at what I do. So he takes care of 99% of it. And then I got to thank David, my son. Him and I are doing a lot of the funding. It's different than it used to be. So we're doing a lot of the funding ourselves. And he's stepped in, and he's having a blast with it. He's really having a good time. Got to thank Cloud9. That's one of David's businesses. Cannabis store. Chimera Slate, obviously. Matt Shepard. Without Matt, it'd be a whole different deal. And then we got a lot of guys that help us. Steve Baker. Steve was with us years ago. And when I got into the crate racing, I said to the guys, who builds the best carburetor? Steve Baker, without a doubt, but you'll never get one. You'll never get one. Well, my brother called him on a Tuesday, and Steve said, I've been waiting for you guys to call me, and we had one of Steve's carburetors on Friday. So it's an old, we were with him for years ago,
right?
And it's just cool to reconnect with him. Pat Morrison, same way, made a few phone calls to Pat, and it's just like we never missed a beat. And we have a lot of product sponsors, that just everybody chips in, winners, a lot of guys, Elmo Speed Shop, Matskin's Design, Matskin's Bodies, DH, he's nailing it out of the park with our graphics. We're trying to do a lot of the old school stuff like Gary Meyer did, brush tricks for years. And, DH is just, the car he did for Matt, for Oswego was just,
that was cool looking.
It was,
yeah,
crazy,
that was cool looking.
And it was just, I did tell Matt he's got to step his game up now because, he's driving that car looks a lot better, but, just joking. But, there's just so many, how it is. There's just, so many people. So
you can't do it without it. Like, especially in the modern era, man, it's a different game. You need all the help you can get.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, hey, brother. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's been great. I could talk to you for another 2 hours. That seems to be
I know
how
we
goes.
could go on and on. And
yeah, I mean, at some point this year, we'll catch up somewhere down the road and drink some beers after the races.
I was going to say, if we have a couple beers, we can talk for 5 hours.
Yeah, right. Next thing you know, the sun will be coming up.
Yep, you know it.
Yeah, it's fun every time.
You know, it's the relationships of racing.
Yep, that's racing. That's racing.
It's pretty cool that you guys are doing this. It's very cool. You know,
well, awesome.
It's cool to be on, and I appreciate you giving me a chance.
No problem, man. Hey, kick some ass this year, all right?
All right, we will.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. There he is, Matty. Now do you know everything there is they need to know about Dave Chimera?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when he got back in at Fonda, and I think he might have been at Utica a couple of times with the open stuff, but wish I could have talked to him a little bit, but we'll have him back on.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him back on again. Again, another great guy, and I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface probably of some of those stories that he would have to tell. You know, like I love talking to guys that've been on the road and all of that. That TV race we were talking about, it's literally on Dirt Vision. It's the first Rush Hour on Dirt broadcast. It's Rush Hour on Dirt. I love that sound. That is my favorite, that intro. But yeah, that race, it was a good race. Again, we always talk about the one that he should have had, and that was definitely the one he should have had. And then again, talking about Syracuse. Now, USNA, Matt, do you remember anything about USNA?
Honestly, until you had said something, I've never even heard of it before.
Really? Ask Billy if you want a background of that. Yeah. They were leasing tracks, running huge money shows, big money shows, big money shows.
Did it only last that 1 year?
That was it. It was like big money, no whammies, and stop. And there were whammies, and it stopped. I want to say the Syracuse racing one, there was about 4 people in the stands. I can't remember if it was Labor Day, July 4th. I don't remember what date it was. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know as soon as I say that.
Did they go against the dirt shows?
They just ran on Saturdays, so it didn't matter, right? Like they didn't, and back in that day, that was kind of when Glenn, wanted the stars at the local racetracks, right? Like you run the series races during the week. That way the stars can be at their home tracks and race on the weekends, so that's kind of how that went. All right. So we got one more thing to do before we wrap here. It's 8:40. Yeah. Racing like it ought to be. James Rutherford. Yeah. That was the catchphrase. Racing like it ought to be. Yep. I wish I could find a sticker or something from back then. That would be that's on my things. I see them every now and then. Somebody has one like on a cooler or something from back then, which is badass. But so we got to pick a driver of the week. So go ahead.
Driver
Eric,
of the week.
I wish I could find the picture. I was looking through my phone at one point trying to find that picture of him when he was driver of the week because I sent it to him. And I know it was in July because I was at Jeremy Elliott's house during PA Speed Week, but I couldn't find the photo in my phone. I'll have to find it for next time. So winners this week were Alex Jankowski, Jared Umpenmauer, Ryan Godown, and Billy Pouch Jr. Jankowski won the most money, $10,000. You okay with that choice, or are we going to have a debate on it?
I'm going to go with Umpenhauer. He had to race 50 other cars.
All right, so you're going with the number again. So you're using my argument against me this week.
Yeah.
There was 30 at Big Diamond.
Yeah, no, I mean.
And it was 10 Gs.
It did get rained out, kind of.
Okay, short, rain
not
shortened.
Rained out, rain shortened, yeah.
Right, rain shortened.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I'm not going against what you had said. I think the other argument was a little bit different, but I think it's tough to argue against when you're racing with 50 cars. I mean, granted, the feature didn't have all 50 cars, but
right,
that Grandview stuff is tough. I remember Billy went down there, I think for the 76er at one point. He goes, "We were one of the fastest cars on the watch, but we never even qualified."
Yeah.
So it's just it's definitely tough going down there.
Well, Eric voted for. You see who Eric voted for?
Yes, I saw.
Well, 2-1.
Whatever.
Driver of the week.
So if you, I'll let you win one of these weeks, but I'm going to give it to Jankowski this week.
No, I don't have any issue with it. You know what I mean? We got our opinions. I got nothing against Alex.
Okay, we'll go with Alex this week. So Alex Jankowski is the. Say it again for me, Eric.
Driver of the week.
God, I love saying that. I love that. So we'll give it to Alex Jankowski. This was in April or May. I rained out on Saturday. It was run on a Sunday. Decker Fan 91. That's the one I don't remember. when was that race? I wish George was still here. George would know, but I don't think he's on. But we'll get it for next week. I'll write it down on my notepad. Hey, we need to add USNA.
We got to get one of the 9-1 cars or 1-9 cars in this show that we do.
What's that?
Fuller or Billy?
Yeah. Well, again,
I'll work on it.
Yeah, I would. Let's see. You have USNA results, Eric? Do you have the one from Syracuse? And do we have a date? I can't see it. What's it say? All right. So where was it here? Syracuse was Labor Day weekend. That's one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Then the other one was May 21st. So just before Memorial Day. So there we go.
That's pretty cool. Dave Chimera, Hearn, Jack Johnson, Billy Decker, Jack Johnson, Brett Hearn, Billy Decker, Jack Johnson, Jack Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, look at the names in that USNA, the different guys that came up for that. You know, like Roger Loreno, Richie Urich, Eddie Marshall, Jack Cottrell. You got the Jeffer in there, Jamie Mills, Craig Von Doren. I mean, Bobby Botcher. I mean, there's some different name guys in there. You know, and see the places they went. You know, Williams Grove, Bridgeport, Devil's Bowl, Albany, Saratoga, Susquehanna, which is BAPS now. So there you go. So there's a little history lesson for you on the USNA. Ask Billy about that. That'd be fun to have Billy on and talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because again, that was a big deal. Like that deal was huge because it was dirt. You know, it was all Glenn Donnelly prior to that, and then this guy comes along and bam, you know, here it is. You know, Brad Weaver, my dad. Yep. Brian the Dream Weaver ran that deal. Yep. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Jack got the win. Yeah. There you go. Cole. I think we just looked at that. I believe it was Brett won. Might have been light on the scales. So yeah. So that's some coolness. I love listening to stories about Jack Johnson. I mean, I think Billy Decker would probably tell you very similar stories because Billy kind of had the same upbringing there as Dave did, right? It was pretty tight with Jack. Used to sleep on Jack's floor, right? As a kid.
Yeah. There's a couple of really, really funny Jack stories that I've heard.
Yeah. We'll have to
have
Steve Botcher. Sorry, Kenny. Not Bobby Botcher, Steve Botcher.
Yep.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, you know, again, it's unfortunate that I started my media career right at the end of Jack's career because I would have liked the chance to chat with him more, you know, and get to know him more. I talked to him a handful of times, you know, but never, you know, not like I would be able to do today, just having the, you know, the amount of pit access and stuff that I do now. But
you get Ronnie on here one of these days too. I think we might.
Yeah, RJ. RJ would do this for us. Yeah, I like RJ would do it. Best race I ever saw was the USNA race at Devil's Bowl. It was Jack, Billy, and Dave. What a battle! Yeah, I mean there were some good races with that USNA. Again, the guy just ran out of money, as Dave said. I want to say he was the guy owned Phase or something like that, or one of those like chains. Did not expect the USNA down the rabbit hole thing here tonight, but we did it. So, all right, guys. Anything else for the good of the order here? What do you think, Matty?
No, we're ready to do some racing here. Kick off the regular season.
I'm ready. I'm ready for Thunder. You ready for Thunder?
I hope so.
All right. 0.01.
That's not relevant. That had nothing to do with the race. We're gonna go. We're gonna give it our best and hopefully win. Not worry about being 1/1000th off on Friday.
I don't forget, man. I'm like an elephant just because I'm fat. But
you got to look forward. You got to stop looking back.
Oh, no, I'm just remembering little stories. You know, you got to have those stories to tell. Yeah, David Panache. I want to say that's how you said the name, Eric, was the guy that started USNA. So, yeah. Yep. But all right. Well, hey, I think it's a good show. Again, big thanks to High Torque in New York for being our presenting sponsor. Couldn't do it without them. Good friend Anthony Knight. And so if there's anything High Torque of New York can do for you, be sure to check them out. If you can't figure out how to get to their website, just go to dirttrackdigest.com. You can click right in the top right corner, click the logo, and it'll bring you to their website and tell you everything that they'll do for you over at High Torque. Of course, I want to thank Michael Moresca and think he was nervous. And I think we broke the ice. I think he did a really good job. He was great. Probably could have talked to him even longer too, but again, we get time constraints. We're already at 8:45 here. We are long-winded here as the season starts. And again, got to thank Pack Your Lunch Minivan.
Me and that 97 will be doing battles. We'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be doing good. We'll be good. Again, also got to thank Dave Chimera for taking the time tonight. Awesome guy. Love every chance I get to catch up with him. He's just such a good dude. Again, another guy with some really, really good stories. So that's a wrap. That works. Another Monday night in the books. We'll be back here again next Monday night. Hopefully we got a lot more racing to talk about. We can rehash Matt's weekend. Hopefully it's a good one. See, now you got to come on the show Mondays and talk about it. So that's not, you no pressure now.
Yeah. Just a little more reason to try a little harder.
Yeah, just a little bit, because if you don't,
yeah, if it's not you on Mondays, it'll be kids here in the coming years.
Yeah, it'll be your daughter giving you crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all right, guys. Well, hey, again, thanks to everybody for watching. We appreciate all being here with us. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And again, we'll be back next Monday, 7:00. So for our producer, Eric Schneck, in the background, for Matt Smith, I'm Mike Mallett, saying, hold on, I got to grab my pen, saying so long for now.
From Niagara to the Hudson, from Champlain to Erie, from nuclear to farming, High Torque of New York is your one-stop shop for torque tool and industrial bolting needs. Easily loosen or achieve accurate torque and bolt load with pneumatic, battery, or hydraulic-powered units. Serving every industry, mining and aggregates, transportation, energy, structural steel, and rail. On-site torque wrench calibration and repair, sales and rentals, training, bolting solutions, and more.
DirtTrackDigest.tv is your #1 source for watching dirt track racing live or on demand from anywhere.
Johnson, and they make contact!
On your smartphone, tablet, computer, or TV. DirtTrackDigest.tv is the ultimate streaming experience for race fans, brought to you by race fans. DirtTrackDigest.tv. If it's on dirt, it's on DirtTrackDigest.tv.